So for all the Christians, Catholics, Hebrew Israelites, Islamic Muslims, and the African Ethiopians, as well as the Jamaican Rastafarians, I will prove 100% that they all worship the sun, moon, and the stars. Period.
First of all, the Earth is affected foremost by the Sun and, of course, the Moon, as well as the other planets within our solar system. Our Earth is covered in roughly 70% water, and these waters and oceans and seas are greatly affected by the Moon's gravitational pull, because the Moon controls the element of water. And this lunar gravitational force is the force behind our tides and our currents. And if it wasn't for the moon, we wouldn't have beautiful waves, which gives us the great art of surfing. And the ocean current gives us our current of the sea, or the currency, which is the flow of the current of the sea, our currency, which is our money. And this is exactly why the moon controls our money. And the symbol for our moony is the pole and the serpent, the 101. And the ancients knew that the sun could be used to evaporate the seawater and get salt, which the ancients harvested exactly like they still do today. And they used the salt mineral for preserving their food. And the word salt comes from the sun as well as the moon. And when the ancients made sacrifices to their gods, they always used salt and water. And that's why all ritual sacrifices require the salt purification. And that's why we still use salt to this very day on our raw meats. And that's why we make a burnt offering or a holocaust before we consume the flesh of the sacrifice. And the human body consists of about 72% water. And since the moon goddess Luna controls the water on Earth, and we are made of water, that means the moon controls us. And that's why Luna gives us our lunatics. And the moon god Min gives us our word mental. And women go mental with their menstrual, which is the min star Ra'el. And we get our word month from the moon, which is a 28-day cycle that it takes to revolve around Earth. And that's why the female menstrual cycle is 28 days. And so the ancients connected the sacred blood of the female with the moon, not to mention that it's made mostly of water, which is controlled by the moon. And the moon god Sin, Selene, or Min also gives us our word insane, or insanity, as well as our word sane, or sanity. And bankers test our sanity with the control of our cash flow, or our currency. And they control that flow with banks, exactly like real banks that control the flow of the currency. And I'm sure you're familiar with the river La Sin, or the Sin, which was named after the moon god Sin. And that's why the river Sin is in the city of romance, the city of Paris, from the couple, or the pair, from the love affair of Osiris and Isis, exactly like the historical love affair of Paris and Helen. And now you know why Paris is the nasty heiress. And how could you forget the Moon River Sin? which is where the royal elite, or the royals of the monarchy, which is the moon arch, where they killed the ancient moon goddess Diana upon the ancient ritual of the pillar of sacrifice. And they actually killed the moon goddess Diana on the night the moon actually dies, on the night of the black moon of death. Because she is the princess, or the Prince of Ice. And that's why Keith and Ben completely missed the boat 100%. And that's why I'm 500 levels above those two brain cell fools. Because they are holding a microcosm grain of sand with their blind, narrow-minded thinking, while I grasp the entire beach from all beaches in the macrocosm, the complete understanding. Because it's 100% fact that the is in Israel is from Isis, period. Because Isis is the principle of the female who produces water, the sacred life-giving element. And the male's element is fire, like the red-hot, erupting, phallic volcano. But actually the word volcano means the vulva canal. Ai means mountain, and tain means fire. So mountain means the fire mount. So fire always represents the male and water the female. And it's very hot during the day and very cold at night. Another reason why the ancients considered the sun male and the moon female. And we also see the trinity of the moon in the three phases of water. Shape. And remember, water is more powerful than fire because fire cannot kill water, it just changes its form. Water easily kills fire and it is unaffected. It simply changes back into one of the three forms. And isn't it funny that we call them firemen, but actually they are watermen? So the extreme opposite of fire is not water, but ice. Fire and ice, the male and the female principle. Male and female, sun and moon. And I just laugh at people that talk about the one God or the Most High, because there is no one God. And they say he's a he, which means he has a penis. And if he has a penis, that means he has to use it on a goddess. And that's why the sacred goddess has always been worshipped first, because the ancients always knew that the woman was the real birth giver of life, which gives us the sacred trinity of the Father, Mother, and Child. Because God has one half of the seed of life, and the goddess has the other. And the ancients also observed one day, which consisted both of day and night, as does the year. 1 year consists of both the winter and the summer. Because within the one is the two opposing forces of duality, the positive and the negative. As above, so below. And this is why we call God and the goddess a deity, which gives us our word day, both day and night. And that's why the one God is really both the male and the female, which is why we say God is divine, which is the divinity, the deus or the deus or divide, dia too. Why do you think they called Princess Diana Princess Di? Because the word di, the etymology, comes from Gaia, Dione, Dios, which means two, like in the word divide, which means to separate or cut in half, like the diameter or the diagonal, which is why we have two dice that have been sliced. And this is why the symbol for the Judaic Christians is the symbol of sex, the sexagram, which is known as the Star of David, which is actually the Star of Divide. the symbol of the male and the female triangle coming together as one. So now you understand the etymology of Zeus as well as Jesus or Jesus. And that's why Jesus is sacrificed or slain at the end of the year. And remember that the 1 year has 2 seasons within it, which is known as the season, or the sea and the sun, the goddess and the god. And that's why the symbol for the ancient Canaanite god El was the symbol of the 2 towers. And that's why the World Trade Center towers were both male and female, hiding the Kabbalistic sex magic of the sexagram. And that's why the orgasm made them come together as one.